Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, which is basically where we ask someone to tell a story, a disastrous performance story. We tend to go where it started off good, ended up bad, and then truly was ugly by the end of the show.
So I have a ton of them.
We all do.
I have a ton of them. One that's kind of fun would be I was invited to do a television show, a Christmas special with huge celebrities like Donnie Marie Osmond. And I was very excited. I mean, that was the best thing ever. Flown to Utah, get to do the show. It was awesome. And I'm going to do a bird trick. And I practiced my bird trick a few times and it's good. And then it's filming time. It's live. We go from one set to the next set to the next set. So they introduce me and I do my little bird thing. And in the middle of my bird trick, the bird flies away. But I'm okay with it. It's gone. I just continue. Don't even think about it. And I look a little stupid. I mean, it's bad that the bird flew away, but I'm living it down. And then they introduced Pat Boone, who's going to do the storytelling. And he's sitting in by the fireplace with some kids, and he's going to read a little story and sing a little Christmas ditty. And that's when it got ugly. That's when they pointed out the bird was hanging from one of the lighting cables just above him, and it took a shit on his head.
Like me.
Yay, me. It's like...
That's why people don't use animals.
Doug Henning, when he got married to Debbie, he produced a bird in the wedding, and the bird defecated all over Debbie's wedding dress. Because the caption, if you go looking, you'll find it on the internet, I'm sure. The newspaper caption said, I do, and the dove did too. That's what it said. I do, and the dove did too.
It would have taken months to train the bird to do that, like, to be fair.
Yeah, you never train it to poop. Well, not so much. I used to have a cockatoo that would take a dump on command. I would say, Sydney, sit. And on sit, he would go, and I said, sit.
You don't want to lisp in that. It doesn't really
That bird was the greatest thing I ever had. I played a comedy club in Nelson, BC. And the opening act was a guy who's very famous now, writes in Canada. He's a writer more than a performer. He was supposed to do 20 minutes, and then I was supposed to do 40 minutes as the headliner. And I came down about 4 minutes into his set to start setting up, and the people were booing and throwing ashtrays at him. And I was like, what kind of club is this that people throw crap at him? And he got hit in the head, and he just looked at the audience and said, screw you, I quit, and walked off the stage. And I was like, what? And it's like, I just introduced him, gone upstairs, got my stuff, and came down and said, okay, so moving on. And the audience was just horrible. I mean, I don't know what happened from when I went upstairs, but they just hated. And I didn't know how to win the audience back. I stood there for a few minutes, and the bartender screams, we get the full hour or we don't pay you. And I'm thinking, oh, that's just classy. So my opening was, would you like to see something really spectacular? And they're still talking and yammering. I said, I'm going to make a bird appear. And I covered the hand over, and I just popped up the finger. And then, of course, they start screaming at me. And I cut past the entire bird act to the cockatoo appearing part just because I knew I needed something big. And I produced this big cockatoo, and I threw him. And he flew around the room in this big arc, and the place went like just you could hear gas. And he landed on my hand, and I turned and I said, Sydney, sit. And he took a dump on the guy in the front. I exploded laughing. And then the guy looked like he was getting up. So I leaned the cockatoo forward, the wings went out, and it went, just screaming. And the guy just backed right up. I said, sit down, or I'll have him rip your head off, and he'll crap down your throat. And the whole guy, I was like, okay, I have your attention.
That's the best heckler stopper ever.
Well, to add to it, I picked the biggest guy in the room. The very next thing I did, I said, you, the big guy in the back, what's the biggest bill you got in your pocket? He said, I got like a 10. I said, you got bigger than that. You're a big guy. He said, oh, I got 100. Come up here. And he came up. I took his 100 out of his hand, and I held it, and I just set fire to it. And I let it burn. And I said, now go back to your seat. He goes, what? I said, go back to your seat. I'll tell you what. When the show is over, if I finish the show, I'll make your $100 bill appear. If for some reason I have to leave the show early because, I don't know, someone throws an ashtray at me or something, well, I can't make your $100 bill appear now, can I? And then I had a bouncer for the whole show. There was no secret. I set fire to his $100 bill. And I just pulled it out of my pocket and I gave it to him.
It's a good rate for security.
Yeah, so that's kind of the opposite. It went from ugly to bad to good.
Yeah. That works too. Reversal.
We did one in one direction and one the other way.